Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy, and thank you for joining me for our live tarot session today, October 28th, 2024. It's a beautiful day and a wonderful evening. Let's give a shout out to everyone here in our chat. Good to see you, Gandhi. Much love, Jeremy. Good to see you, Rowie. Daphne, much love. Isaac, much love. Good to see you, Lisa. Christy, much love. D-Love, good to see you. Hollerate, much love. Kari, amazing to see you. Much love. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Mother Rhea, all the love in the world. All right, so let's talk briefly about the astrology. So we're still in this beautiful energy of the moon in Virgo and the sun in Scorpio. Beautiful energy, intense energy, right? Scorpio is that Halloween season. It is the time of endings. It is the time of secrets and revealings. It is a time for sensual pleasure and connecting to the earth before that long, deep stretch of the cold, when we can truly go to the depths of the self and overcome. So now is a time to listen and to engage, to peer into that abyss, to see what awaits us in that cold depth of winter. Beautiful energy. With this energy also of the moon in Virgo, we have that profound ability to truly shine a light into our deepest sense of self, into our deepest emotions, into our darkest places. We can be that profound Estrella, the one who through her own actions is able to ascend to the stars, who can perfect herself. And that is that power of that Virgo, to shine that light, to refine, and to hold ourselves to account. And with this Scorpio energy, it's an incredible time for revealing, for seeing the secrets, and for acting. If we can listen, if we can take that time to sit and be in the body, and we can engage that Virgo energy in the right way, we can truly understand where we're going and where we've come from. Take advantage of this energy. It's truly, truly beautiful. All right, let's talk briefly about the title here. Find the middle ground between desire and possibility. When I was meditating this morning and drawing my cards, I drew the art card. Profound, beautiful energy. The coming together of the masculine and feminine to create the divine androgyne, the rebus, the Fanis, the Adranahari Ishvara, right? That penultimate moment before unity. Beautiful, profound balance. Bringing together of forces for that purpose of creation, to create something greater than the sum of its parts, right? I always think of that great cycle we see in the Egyptian, right? Isis and Osiris. Osiris is destroyed by Set, but it is their child, Horus, the silent child who is reborn, who comes and is able to destroy that great serpent, Set, and to bring about a new age, to take revenge and to set a new law, a new standard, new growth, new cycles, right? That's that energy. And that's the energy we're trying to tap into with this art. Recognizing the balance, trying to strive for the stars, but seeing what we can actually achieve and doing the work necessary to bring it into creation. The key component of the art card is the production, that genesis, that generation, the production of something important, the creation of beauty, the perception and making of the beautiful, not just children, not just art objects, but all beauty in and of itself. Right? Recognizing that creation, that necessary function of generation that continuously pushes us through the cycles, is that coming together of forces in balance and harmony, in unity, to see something greater, to create that weave, right? And when we see the art card, we recognize ourselves as part of the tapestry and that we are also unfolding that tapestry. Beautiful. So that is the energy of today. And I wanted to read for you guys a poem. It's by Oscar Wilde. It's called Silentium amorous. As oftentimes the too resplendent sun hurries the pallid and reluctant moon back to her somber cave, ere she hath won a single ballad from the nightingale, so doth thy beauty make my lips to fail, and all my sweetest singing out of tune. And as at dawn across the level mead on wings impetuous, some wind will come, and with its two harsh kisses break the reed, which was its only instrument of song. So my two stormy passions work me wrong, and for excess of my love, love is dumb. But surely unto thee mine eyes did show why I am silent, and my lute unstrung. Else it were better we should part and go, thou to some lips of sweeter melody, and I to nurse the barren memory of unkissed kisses and songs never sung. True love is found in the silence, in that love of silence, in that perception of the other, in the willingness to listen and to give voice to the other when they cannot give voice to themselves. Beautiful. All right. We are now going to go to our Ganapati oracle. Ganesha Ganapati is that guardian of the threshold, the divine child, the Lord of beginnings, and the master of the Ganas. We ask them to send us a message and to ensure that our words are heard by those who need to hear them. So, Lord Ganapati, what is the inspiring word? Today's message is healing. Healing. Beautiful energy, right? That Virgo energy is that soteria. It is the power to be able to heal. True healing comes from change. True healing comes from recognizing when things have fallen, when things are not working in harmony, and striving for that harmonic energy, right? Striving to be in that flow. We are whole when we are part of that tapestry, when we are moving in unity with the universe, when we are exercising our true will, learning the lessons that we are meant to learn, going the ways we are meant to go. That Dharma, that Tao, right? Now is a time for healing. With this Scorpio energy, with this Virgo energy, we can go to the depths and we can see what needs to be improved. Do you have the strength of character to be honest with yourself, to see yourself reflected in the mirror of the moon, and to do what is necessary to achieve that balance, to heal yourself and your surroundings? That is the call. Beautiful. Wow. Intense energy from Ganapati. Love it. We're now going to go to our sortes. For those of you unaware, the sortes is a form of bibliomancy, that is, divination through literature. And it comes to us through the Greco-Roman tradition. And we invoke the goddesses of inspiration, the divine muses, and ask them to send us a message through the text. Today, we're going to start with A Sinister Assassin by Antonin Artaud. Muses, what is the message from Artaud? Inspire us this evening. The fearsome and ineffable inborn capability. That fearsome and ineffable inborn capability. Now bring out the body of the human being into the light of nature. Plunge that body raw into the glow of nature. That's where the sun will finally merge with it. How beautiful, intense is this? This is literally what I was saying. That fearsome and ineffable inborn capability. You have the power to move mountains, to transform the self, to transform the entirety of the universe. Now bring out your body, the human being. Expose yourself into the light of nature. Plunge that body raw into the glow of nature. That's where the sun will finally merge with it. When you can confront the self, when you can embrace the all, when you can face that pan, right? When you can face that pan. And I wanted to read to you guys a really incredible passage I'd found It's from a book on Greek theology that I was reading on Topos Text. And it is just truly incredible. Let me pull it up here for a second. It's by L. Aeneas Cornutus, Greek theology. And here they're talking about the all. So we start. Atlas is called sagacious because he is concerned for the universe and provident in seeing to the welfare of all its parts. From him were born the Pleiades, it being established that it generated all the stars, of which there are a superabundance. He is identical with Astraeus and Thaumas because it does not stand still. It is never everywhere at rest, although its progress is the best possible and calm. And it produces great wonder in those who contemplate its organization. And it is Pan as well, since it is identical with everything. He is the hairy and goat-like in his lower parts because of the roughness of the earth. His upper parts have the form of a human because the ruling part of the cosmos, which is rational, is in the aether, like the human head. He is traditionally held to be lecherous and lewd because of the number both of the seminal principles it possesses and of the things that come about from their intermingling. He passes much of his time in the wilderness because it was established that he is solitary on this basis of the fact that the cosmos is single and unique. He pursues nymphs because it rejoices in the moist exaltations of the earth, without which it could not be constituted. His skittish and playful nature points to the ceaseless motion of the universe. He is clad in fawn skins or leopard skins because of the variety of the stars and of other things which are observed in it. He is said to play the pan pipes, perhaps because it is swept up by all sorts of wind, or perhaps because they sound wild and austere, and is not just for making a show. Because he spends time on the mountains and caves, the pine wreath was associated with him. The pine being an impressive tree associated with mountains and undeath. Also associated with him are the sudden and irrational disturbances called panic attacks. For this is how sheep and goats are frightened when they hear a sound from the wood or from underground caverns and in places where there are ravines. It was appropriate that they should have made him guardian of the young of the herds, and it is perhaps because of this that they depict him with horns and cloven hooves. Perhaps they were hinting at his double nature in his protruding ears. Perhaps it is Priapus as well, by which all things come into light. Through Pan and Priapus, all things come into light. The ancients thus suggesting in a superstitious and grandiose way that they thought about the nature of the cosmos. Anyway, the size of his genitals, the abundant seminal power that is in this god, while the collection of fruits held in the folds of his cloak, his kolpos, indicates the wealth of fruits that grow in the bosom of the land, the kolpos of the land, and come forth in due season. Traditionally, he is guardian of orchards and vineyards, since it is the job of the parent to preserve what he has brought into being. Zeus, too, thence being said to be preserver. Vineyards suggest bounty and purity, but fruits suggest more especially variety, pleasure, and making generation easy. He's mostly dressed that way as well. He holds out a sickle in his right hand, either because this is used for pruning of vines, or because he is guarding something and is armed to protect it, or because it is the same power that after bringing things into being, cuts them. That Saturnian force of cutting, that broken point of time. And again, the cosmos is agathos daimon, the good daimon. He too being laden with fruit, or else he is the principle which rules it, considered insofar as it divides and shares out what happens being a good distributor. He is defender and preserver of household matters because it keeps its own house in order and at the same time offers itself as an example to others. The horn of Arimathea, the goat that nursed Zeus, right, is an attribute proper to him because of whom all which are generated in due season grow at the same time. Not that he brings them into being for some single purpose. They crowd into being for many and for various purpose. Or it, the horn of Arimathea, might indicate that the cosmos periodically destroys and again plunders everything. Or it might be the exhortation to labor, which comes from him, since good things comes to those who are not made soft. So much intensity, but I wanted to read this for you because of the synchronicities of this connection between the light, the earth, and the all. And confronting those aspects that are so painful. You know, a lot of us, when we hear the stories of Zeus, when we hear the stories of Pan, of Priapus, these are not fun stories. These are stories of violence and of power and of domination, right? These are figures of fear that bring panic, right? But there is something much more beautiful here. There are multiplicities to this. They are man and beast. They are representative of that struggle, right? And through the act of coming out of the earth, through the act of growing and tending to the garden, of tending to the fruits, of producing that life through that work of generation, we refine ourselves, and that Priapus comes from the Pan, and from the Priapus something greater yet still. We take that power, that seminal power, and we put it to use. We put it to use. Transformative power, right? Just as we take the fruits of the earth, that power of the great mother, and we use it to sustain us. Everything in balance, everything in flow. When that masculine force tends to the vine, to that feminine force, we produce the fruits. We give birth to generation, right? And that is how we're able to face all this. And that is that work that the Virgo does, going through the cycles, dying and rising, ever refining, ever evolving, striving for what? Arati, in that middle way. All right. Sorry for the little rant there. I just had to. That passage really moved me this morning and I needed to share. So let's continue. Lewis Carroll, Alice Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. Muses, what is the message from Lewis Carroll? Inspire us this evening. Now, then, show your ticket, child, the guard went on, looking angrily at Alice. And a great many voices all said together, like the chorus of a song, thought Alice. Don't keep him waiting, child. Why, his time is worth £1,000 a minute. Wow. Now then, show your ticket, child, the guard went on, looking angrily at Alice. Are you even allowed to be here? Do you get to perceive? Are you part of this tapestry? And then all of the voices said together like the chorus of a song, don't keep him waiting, child. Why, his time is worth £1,000 a minute. The one, that tyrant, that force that must be confronted, right? It's interesting. You know, one of our greatest strength and our greatest weakness is this coming together and separating apart. It's that Aphroditic power, right? This allows humanity to come together, to work, to create the strongest things of beauty, but it also allows us to break apart, to pursue justice. This can allow a single person to inspire people to move mountains, to transform the universe. And it can also inspire others to resist that person and to overthrow them and to create a whole new vision. Right? We're always going through these processes. And it is the middle way that we want to find, where we are balanced as that chorus, not in fear of that master of time, but we are working together in harmony, listening to that song of generation and going through it. All right, let's continue. We are now going to go to Lorca, 3 Tragedies. Muses, what is the message from Federico Garcia Lorca? No, I'll be busy all night with the irrigating. There's very little water. It's mine till sunup, and I've got to guard it from thieves. You go to bed and you sleep. Wow. We are seeing that great worker, that Priapus energy on full display. No, I'll be busy all night with the irrigating, with the tending to the fields, ensuring that the water can sustain that earth and produce the fruit. There's very little water. It's mine till sunup. It's mine till sunup. Recognizing also the cycles in one's duty. I must protect this water for now. I irrigate the fields for now. Until when? Till the sun rises. I've got to guard it from thieves. You go to bed and sleep. Each person in their own place, right? Each working together to create that tapestry. And recognizing the work and the effort needed, right? Beautiful. Wow. Let's continue. We're now going to go to L'Autrement, Malidor, and other poems. Muses, what is the message from Le Conte de L'Autrement? Inspire us. A red lantern, the flag of vice, hanging from the end of a triangle, rocking its carcass, lashed by the 4 winds above a massive worm-eaten door. Wow, what beautiful imagery is this? A red lantern. What is a lantern? What does the hermit carry? But the lantern, the thyrsus, right? That which shines a light that brings that Luciferian energy into the darkest parts of the earth to expose, to transform. Hanging from the end of a triangle, from the end of a triangle, that descending star, that divine feminine, right? In her 3 forms, lashed by the 4 winds, tied to the 4 winds, that Hecadic power of transformation that exists in the 4 worlds. Also that hermetic power of transformation. Tied together, 2 sides of the same coin. Above a massive worm-eaten door. Who is the gate? Who is the guardian? It's that Saturnian time, that worm-eating gate, right? The dung beetle. We're coming into all of this profound energy of transformation, of growth, and recognizing the cycles. You know, Dionysus is those animals that recycle the earth. The beetles, the worms. He is the one who guards the gate of triumph, who shows you the middle path, how to walk through the eye of the needle, how to walk through the eye of the needle. And we get there. How do we get there? Through the red lantern of desire. It is by chasing our desire through experiencing, through that flag of vice, confrontation with the lust. Who is the lust? Lady Babylon. Who is Lady Babylon but that great mother, that Astarte, that red goddess? She leads us through the worm-eaten door into ionic life, through the cycles of death and rebirth. Yes, Kepri, the dung beetle. So much beauty. All right. We are now going to go to our final sorties for the evening. Don Juan in Hell by Bernard Shaw. Muses, what is the message from Shaw? Inspire us this evening. It seems that woman taught you something too, with all her defects. It seemed that woman taught you something too, with all her defects. With all her defects. We were just talking about, oh man, this is such a good opportunity. This is the muse on full display. I had been talking to you about the defects of the masculine, those horrible stories we hear of Zeus and of Pan, of learning to control that goat-like aspect, that animal instinct. But we see this also within the monstrous feminine. Within the monstrous feminine, Medea is also one of these figures, one of these Pan-like figures, right? She is that force of lust and desire that pushes us through, that forces us to confront and to face these desires, to face our lusts, to confront ourselves, And we have to confront those dark aspects. We have to shine a light to all of it. You have to expose the truth behind these things. It is only in the light that things can truly exist. It's only in the light that you can see the beauty of creation, the love behind the lust, that power of generation, where you can see that it is Babylon who is the absolute center. All right, beautiful. We are now going to go to our tarot proper, but before I do, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. It boosts, it helps everything in the algorithm. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, please reach out, snappyddts@gmail.com. We have to confront that Medusa. We have to confront that Zeus, right? We have to confront that Pan. All of these energies are real and they exist in our universe. And if we cannot face those powerful energies, then we create demons. It is only in darkness that the demons can thrive, right? It is in the depths of the water, in the mud, in the darker places that the giants and the monsters rise up. It is only when we cast people into that unknown, when we exclude and vilify, that we create demons, right? We create demons. All right, now let us go to the Arcana Mundi Tarot, or Liber Mundi Tarot. And we are going to invoke that energy of Saturn. And we're going to ask them to dissect our lives, to cut it up on the plate, and to show us the interconnections. And we ask, how can we best move and flow? How can we overcome the present? How can we learn to evolve? And how can we manifest our true will? And what is that greater message for our overall community? And today's message is, it's always the center card is the most important. Indolence. Indolence. Wow. Indolence is intense energy. The 8 of Cups. Over engaging. Over experience. Going into that lust. How appropriate for talking about all this Lady Babylon energy than to have something like the indolence, where you have to be in that mode where you are being brought down into the filth before you can come out of the filth. You have to be able to see and expose and understand what is coming, right? Let's see where this is going. Wow. 5 of Cups, the disappointment. What I'm seeing here is that with that Eight of Cups energy, that indolence is bred out of this disappointment. It's bred out of this frustration. You know, there has been an over engagement and an over expression of this lustful connection because there has been a disappointment in connection where there has been abuse. There has been an expectation that was unfulfilled, right? There have been relationships that came up that were wanting, where they were not reciprocal, where the cups were dry, right? Where our water was drunk and taken from us. And now we have that overabundance because we had that loss. Because of that loss energy, now there's this energy of over engagement, this over stimulation and connecting to it because of this fear of the disappointment again. But this energy is equally as negative. It's equally as negative. It's just in a different direction, right? It is that over engagement, but with people who do not love us, people who are not in reciprocity, right? What it was here is that this was love that was withheld, love that was withheld. And now this is love that is given, but it is not the love that you wish. It is that selfish love, but it is still human connection. And so we engage in it for that pleasure, but it is not sustaining, nor is it healthy. It is waste, right? It is waste. It is that essence of killing time, you know? When you break out of the middle path and you engage in these acts of pleasure that can bring such incredible, profound understanding and mystical knowledge, right? When you overindulge in these acts, they lead to that destructive nature. They destroy the self. They pursue death. They disconnect one from the body, from reality. We need to learn to balance this energy. Where's this going? Wow. What an intense middle. The 10 of Swords. Ruin. Overthinking to the point of ruination. Being your worst enemy. Right? Imagining your own destruction. Ensuring your own destruction. Preventing that next generation through conflict. Wow. So what I'm seeing here is that there is almost a desire to justify this, right? There is often what happens with the mind, right? We engage or we put into these addictive modes or these self-destructive modes, these energies of self-destruction, right? And then we justify them through that logic, right? But here it's moved way beyond logic. It's moved into that self-destructive nature of ruination, right? There are two sides to every coin in this universe, love or violence. And what we're seeing here is there is a imbalance towards that violence, imbalance towards that pursuit of depth, pursuit of waste. There is great beauty in the wasteful. Beauty in art is created in that which is made for no purpose but to be beautiful. But this kind of engagement can lead to that indolence, overstimulation, overcreation. It takes you out of the body. It puts you into exploitation, into obsession, into greed, right? It binds you. It brings eventual ruin. So what I'm seeing is that trauma of the disappointment has led to this overindulgence. And now we are on that destructive path of ruination, believing that we are pursuing logic, believing that we are pursuing that higher goal, that highest achievement. And in some ways we are. The 10, right? The 10 is that completion and ending of the cycle. And the lesson to be gained from that destructive force of ruination is profound. Where is this going? Out of the ruin comes love. Out of the indolence comes love. Look at this. What I'm recognizing here is that this middle path that we're seeing is a recent past. It is a recent past. This is a energy that is coming to a conclusion, right? With that 10. And out of this energy of the disappointment and then overindulgence of indolence and that overthinking of ruination, we now come to the other side of the coin. When you go to the full extent of the 10 and you pursue that violent force to its full extent, it only has one other place to go, back to that love, back to that force of Aphrodite. And here we're seeing that force. This is a call to connect to that loving energy that is in your life. Look to that force that wishes to engage with you in co-creation, in loving communion, in that equal sharing, right? In that equal sharing. Where's this going? Where's this love taking us? How beautiful. The 8 of discs, that prudence energy, that Priapus, that Pan. What I was talking about earlier, this idea of doing the work, of tending to the vine, of tilling the earth to produce the fruit, that masculine and feminine in working harmony, creating new life, bringing new fruit, bringing new pleasures, new joy, new abundance. Beautiful energy. Wow. And it produces that luxury, the coming together of the 4 forces, the 4 winds, the 4 elements of the moon, that Hecatic force to create that luxury, the family. This is representative of our closest loving connections. Our children, our lovers, our parents, those who are truly connected to you in the most loving and wholesome way. That's where that luxury comes from that foundation, because these energies are there for you. And what we're seeing with this love is that this love is not simply a love. It is a foundational love. And it is one that will lead to this energy of tilling the field, of building the tower, of doing the work, of coming out of that indolence, of overcoming the disappointment, of breaking that cycle of ruination. How profound. Where is this going? And out of the 8, we manifest the 10. Satiety. Satiety. What do we do? This is such beautiful energy, right? We recognize that disappointment from our past. We recognize the indolence of our present, the overindulgence, the imbalance. But where do we go into our future? We push forward. We expand these connections until we create that loving community of the 10 that can be sated. Loving harmony, reciprocal flow, connections, true friendships, true love, right? That's truly building upon this loving energy to its fullest extent to create that 10, that tower that truly produces the fruits. And look what we see. We see the chimera at the top holding the poppy, pouring the waters over the fruits, over the squashes, the most abundant of fruit that we have, the largest fruit. And again, we're seeing the Knight of Swords. We've been seeing this energy in the Queen of Swords quite a bit, the Swords energy. And this is the call, right? To be that one that pursues wisdom, to be that mature, outgoing knight, to be the one who can think to the higher, who can strive for that mystical revelation, for that reason, and put it into praxis. And when we can manifest this energy of the mature knight, of the one that pursues wisdom, we manifest the 10. Wow. What is our final card? This is beautiful. I had drawn this earlier for a dear friend of mine. So this really hits. And in the final part, connected to that. What we're seeing here is that, look, this is beautiful. It's split into three. In that past, we had, as our center defining moment, was this indolence, recognizing that we were not satisfied, even though we had lots of connections, lots of love, lots of engagement, lots of participation in the world. It has been debased, frivolous, found wanting, not reciprocal, not flowing, not true, right? But it was sparked by that disappointment in our past, by that abuse of our past, by those losses of our loved ones in our past. This led us to seek out this decadent energy, right? And this energy led us to that ruination. It led us to the point where we had to break. Recognize too, with the great 10 of ruin, it ends that cycle and it begins something new, because this is the mind saying enough is enough. I have learned the lesson. I am breaking with that indolence. I am breaking this cycle and I'm starting anew. I am cutting it out, right? I'm cutting it out. And that energy was cut. And what did it lead to? To the finding of love. When we could truly disengage from that indolence, when we can let go of the disappointments of the past, when we can stop overthinking and just flow, that is when the love came in the least expected of ways, in the most magical of ways. And where's that love going to produce that foundation? This is not just love. This is that lifetime love, right? This is someone who will be a core person in your life, family, right? That's a family connection that was established for the purposes of tending the garden, of building the tower, and doing the work together in loving harmony. But even that is not enough. This luxury, this foundation, this love, this prudence continues to build, and it brings us to our final, our future, the 10 of Cups, satiety. Really engaging that love, that feminine, watery energy to its absolute maximum, flowing in community in reciprocal loving flow, producing that fruit of generation that can expand and grow in charity. And it comes when we take on that energy of the Knight of Swords, that mature actor who pursues that higher mystical understanding, who pursues wisdom and has the strength to be true to their conviction. And when we do that work, when we connect to that Aphrodite Kometho, when we wish upon the star and we do the rites, when we ask that great mother, right? It's not enough to want. You must cry out and ask for it. And what we want is that love, is that community, is that tower rebuilt. Wow. Wow. Such profound energy, right? 3 phases. The first, self-realization. The second, balancing and gaining a perspective through that loving communal partnership and understanding. And third, taking that and expanding it even greater still into that community with many people through that expansive love of that Aphrodite, through that mature energy of the knight who saves the princess, who slays the monsters, right? Beautiful. All right, we're going to now flip my camera. But before I do, once again, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. It boosts everything in the algorithm, and I would truly appreciate it. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, please reach out, snappydts@gmail.com, or find me on the Myth and Lore Discord, Snappy or Lady Snappy. All right, here we go. Indolence, 8 of Cups, right? We're going to start here with that 5 of Cups, that disappointment. There is this energy of disappointment is so painful, and it will show up for us in many different ways in our lives, but it is always selfish, right? It's that selfish energy. And we know it when we see it. Even though it was probably at one point love, because it comes in the cups, it turned into that selfish energy that demanded more than we could give. And when those demands exceed more than we can give, they demands always turn destructive. And that disappointment drains the water. So this is incredible loss. Loss of life, loss of love, loss of connection. Defining moments of our life that flow with us across time. Painful energy, but it is that energy that we went through, those experiences that have turned us into who we are, that can allow us to become that knight, to be that mature actor who can take a stand and can resist that disappointment with logic and reasoning, right? That can have the strength to build and to produce new generations, new love, anything to overcome, to build that. When we really recognize is that this disappointing energy is such painful energy, because it is when our loved ones let us down. It's when our loved ones fail us, and it's failure in that selfish way. And it's this selfish failure that causes such profound transformation. Out of this disappointment comes the prudence, the strength to build that community, to be that mature person, to prevent this energy from happening again, to help those who need it, so that this disappointment doesn't manifest like it has for us in our past. Now we continue. The indolence are present in many ways. We overcome this indolence, this over-engaging, this ridiculous energy when we embrace love. When we embrace love. When we pursue that loving connection. When we expand our perspective through the lens of the partner, through the equal lover. And together, we create that satiety. We overcome the indulgence by pursuing true love and really projecting that love into the universe until we manifest that community, till we bring people together in harmony and we are satisfied in that flow, in those connections, in that community, in that building. Profound energy, right? That indolence is so much, to me, is kind of like our present reality, our present society. Not evil, just lazy and prone to overindulgence. And we all need to get whipped by that Aphroditic love, because it is love that brings that inspiration to clean those waters and to manifest that tower, to become the community that can conquer this indolence energy, that can bring back that fiery spark. Let's continue, right? It is out of this ruin, out of the failure, out of the destruction that life and love is born, right? We've all had these profound moments in our past of loss, of self-harm, of self-doubt, of destruction. But those destructive moments, those ruination moments are needed. Sometimes we need to cut ties with the past in order to find our foundation, in order to manifest that love into our life. On one hand, this is negative. This is that absolute, right? This is going to the full depths of that overthinking and self-destructive tendency. But if you can survive this, grandiose lessons come. And the lesson is clear. We are shown how to speak to that great mother. Because when can we speak to that great mother? When is the power, when is the magic most available? In the desperation. in those moments of darkness, when we are afraid and reduced to children, when we call out to her for help, as a child to her mother. None of us are beyond this energy. You take the strongest, most powerful man, the staunchest atheist, I don't care. You put him in that tense situation, they will cry out for mother. We all do. But it is that crying out that allows us to overcome that ruination. And in this case, we found our foundation, that love that will sustain us. And if we can maximize this love, if we can truly engage with that mother, if we have the strength of imagination and conviction, if we can be that pursuer of wisdom, we can bring this love upon the earth and manifest it as that community, as that satiety. Beautiful. Let us now look at our crosses. First, we look here, right? It is this foundation. It is when we work with this energy and we expand our perspective and we look to those truly loving energies in our lives and we listen to them that we can embody that night of wisdom. The night of wisdom is only wise because of their foundation, right? Let's look at the other cross. That prudent energy, that coming together to till the fields and to do the work. It is that energy that draws down the stars. It is that energy that'll overcome the indolence, that'll manifest the loving flow. We just have to be that prudent energy. We have to do the work, tend the fields, produce that fruit that can sustain all of us. And we have to wish for it. We have to do what is necessary to manifest it. Recognize that what we do today produces tomorrow. All right, everyone, that is the message. I hope it resonated with you. It certainly resonated with me. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Here we go. All right. We are now going to do one final sortes, and we'll call it an evening. We're going to go here to Euripides, 10 plays. Muses, what is the message from Euripides? What do we leave the audience with tonight? To cut a long story short, he will descend alive to Hades, and when he finally escapes from the clutches of the sea, he will come home to a multiple of sorrows in his house. He does come home to a multitude of sorrows in his house, but he also comes home to love. That Odysseus story, why? Like I've been thinking about this a lot because my dear friend Gandhi sent me a interesting commentary that rebukes Odysseus for not accepting Circe. But in many ways, that was not Odysseus's path. Odysseus is bound by love, just as Medea is bound by love. And he has to return home to his love. And that is his fate. The suffering is necessary. The suffering brings growth. It brings that transformation. You know, it may be ironic that Odysseus was able to see that great mother and look on her eye to eye and say no. But that is why she chose him in the first place. Because he looked her in her eye and she offered him the universe and he said no. He said no. He pursued love on the earth. How powerful is that? There's no more human in action one could take. And this is why Odysseus is the greatest of heroes, not Jason. Recognize. All right, everyone. Peace and love. Thank you so much for joining us. And I hope I see you again tomorrow. Until then, take care.